What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, talking today about the PlayStation 5 because finally Sony has decided to come out and confirm the last details about PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility. Now this is a very big deal, mostly because there's been a lot of dumb fake rumors going around on the internet, stuff that's just complete nonsense, but it just keeps spreading. Some people were saying that no games except for the top 200 best-selling games were going to work on the PlayStation 5. Some people were saying that every single game would work on the PlayStation 5, but the truth is much more intricate. There is some features that will never work on the PlayStation 5, which is strange, but I want to get into this thing that we've just gotten from Sony themselves. This is over on supports.playstation.com, and it's the backwards compatibility guide. It's finally explaining how things are going to work, how the PlayStation 5 updates are going to function, and also it talks about Super Boost. Now let's take a look at it. The PlayStation 5 console is backwards compatible with the overwhelming majority of PlayStation 4 games. That means an amazing collection of thousands of PS4 games can be played on your PS5 console. Now, they use this number specifically. The majority of the freaking 4,000 PlayStation 4 games are playable on the PS5. Select PS4 games will benefit from the PlayStation 5's console game boost, which may make PS4 games run with a higher or smoother frame rates. Now this is good and bad. I mean, I was hoping that this would be much more. The phrasing of this makes it sound like there's probably only going to be like, 1 or 200 games total in the world that'll really be able to get this great game boost system. But I'm glad it exists at all. Now, part of the reason I foolishly assumed that this would work for every game is because right now I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I love my PlayStation 4 Pro. And whenever you put like a disc into the PS4 Pro, it will straight up say super sampling mode enabled or whatever. And it basically means that they're upscaling it to 4K, even though it's not really a 4K game. They would do tiny things to try and make the image cleaner, smoother, better, even if it wasn't like a full-blown update. And it does sound like Games Boost is only going to affect certain games, but still very, very cool. Now, carrying on. Although many PS4 games are playable on the PlayStation 5, some functionalities that were available on the PS4 console may not be accessible on PS5 consoles. In addition, some PS4 games may exhibit errors or unexpected behavior when playable on the PS5 consoles. Before purchasing add-ons to play with your PS4 games on a PlayStation 5 console, please try to boot it up and play your PS4 games on the PlayStation 5 console to see if you're happy with the play experience. Now, this does sound like they're trying to warn you that this isn't going to be a one-to-one experience. It seems like this is probably going to be using some sort of like inside console emulation. It's definitely trying to, simulate a PlayStation 4 inside of a PlayStation 5, which, makes sense. But it does sound like there's going to be maybe some hard crashes, maybe some little technical details that aren't perfect until maybe we get some sort of PlayStation 5 patch. Now, going on here. Please note, playing PSVR games on a PlayStation 5 console requires a PlayStation VR headset, a PlayStation camera, and a PlayStation camera adapter. Always update your PS5 console to the latest version of system software. So yeah, it does sound like if you want things to be good, you're going to have to constantly make sure your stuff is connected to the internet and ready and willing to be updated constantly as they get this to go as smoothly as it can be. Now, here's the thing, they do actually confirm a couple of games that don't work at all. These are now going to be considered games that are playable on PS4 only. These are projects that apparently will never come to PlayStation 5 or are not currently slated for PS5 in any capacity. Now, most of these you probably haven't heard of. The ones that you're definitely probably, Afro Samurai 2, this one was kind of well known. Joe's Diner. If you've been subscribed to me for a long time, I actually talked about Joe's Diner on a list of the worst PS4 games ever made. This is basically a absolute trash can dumpster fire freaking cell phone game that they shoved onto the PlayStation 4. It's funny to me that this game even still exists. I kind of think it should be legitimately removed from the PlayStation Marketplace, and I'm being serious about that. So it's kind of funny that Sony has just been like, all right, look, it's still on PS4, but we're not bringing that to PS5. Here's where they talk about how it works. I'm not going to read the step-by-step guide, but basically the way it's going to work is that you'll take your game and you'll either just put the disc in and it'll install the PlayStation data that it needs, and then you select it from your games list, which makes sense because it's going to basically be taking your disc itself and then just downloading everything from the PlayStation 5 store so it's PlayStation 5 compatible. And this is a freaking amazing sign. And let me explain why, which is that I was actually a little bit afraid of the more obscure PlayStation 4 games. I have a decently sized PS4 collection, and a lot of the games I like the most are stuff like this. .hack GU Last Recode. This is a freaking amazing game. I love it so much, but it's so weird. I think a lot of casual PlayStation 4 people probably can't even read this name. They're like, goo code hack, what am I doing here? These people are going to know what this is. So I kind of assumed that there were going to be games like this, that even though I loved it, and even though they do have a tiny dedicated fan base, I kind of assumed that games like this, unfortunately, would not make the leap. But the fact that it's going to be a system where you put the disc in and it just downloads it from the PlayStation 5 store, so it runs inside of the, PlayStation 4 emulator, so to speak, this is a good sign that the process overall is going to be pretty dang streamlined. Now, the last thing here I want to look at is if we scroll down here, they talk about PlayStation 5 controllers versus PlayStation 4 controllers, and there is some strange stuff in here. Now, here's the biggest thing. DualSense controllers, which are obviously the PlayStation 5 controllers, and DualShock 4 controllers are both going to officially work on the PlayStation 5. Now, if you read all this, it's a big old description here, but the main thing you need to realize is, look, for the best experience, use DualShock 4 controllers when playing PS4 games on the PlayStation 5. If you're somebody that has a huge collection of PlayStation 4 controllers already, don't throw them on eBay. Probably keep a couple around, especially if you're going to be playing like a multiplayer or a couch co-op game on your PlayStation 5, because apparently you're still going to need them. Now, I have a bunch of controllers, and we did know that these were going to still function on the PlayStation 5, but we weren't sure to what degree. I mean, it's kind of strange that I need these to play PlayStation 4 games at their best. I still need to physically own the PlayStation 4 controller, but it does go on to say that it is possible, like here, right here, it is possible to use the PlayStation 5 controller on PS4 games, whereas PlayStation 5 games cannot use the PlayStation 4 controller. So this is a one-way street when it comes to conversion. Also, I do think this is a little bit funny. Look at this. The share button, if you look at it, the share menu cannot be displayed during PS4 gameplay on PlayStation 5 consoles. You can take screenshots and images by pressing the create button on your DualSense controller. Additionally, you can use button shortcuts. So this will no longer bring up that menu like you guys have seen. I've streamed a couple times directly through my PlayStation 4, and part of the reason I like it is because it's just so easy. I just tap this button, it immediately starts streaming. I have it set up so it just goes straight to Twitch or whatever. I mean, it's super clean, it's super easy. It is a little bit funny that when I get my PlayStation 5, this button basically becomes deactivated. I mean, it's a little bit strange to think about, but this is a small price to pay. I mean, I'll just say it, I'm genuinely super hyped about this. I'm super excited about the future of PlayStation 5. There is one last part about this that I did skip over, and it was on purpose because I wanted to talk about it at the end, which is that they talk about that certain games are going to be eligible for a PlayStation 5 upgrade. And it has a separate link, which is right here. And if you go to it, they basically say that some games are going to have a paid upgrade, some games are going to have a free upgrade, but they basically say that you need to put your PlayStation 4 into the console, go to the PlayStation 5 store, and see if it has an upgrade button. If it has an upgrade button, it's free, but not every game is going to have it. So stuff like Control has already been confirmed that even though I own the disc, even though I've beaten all the DLC and stuff, if I want it to run on the PlayStation 5 and have nice PlayStation 5 5 updates, I'll need to buy a special edition of it, which does kind of suck. Even if you don't choose to upgrade it, these games still function. They're still on the compatibility list. It is still fully functional. You can still take your games, throw them in there, and it'll still boot up. It'll still play them. It'll still completely function. It's just if you want all the cool capabilities, bells, whistles, and nice little updates to the PlayStation 5, you may have to pay an additional price. But at least now we have all of our answers finally answered. That's great. I'm super excited for it, but what do you think? Are you at all excited about the PlayStation 4 games being on PlayStation 5, or are you one of those people? I have noticed that there's this group of people who are basically saying that when the PlayStation 5 comes out, they're just going to stop playing the PlayStation 4. They're only going to be next-gen only people. They say, I'm not playing games to play the old stuff, which is a unique point of view. Well, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, I really want to play some more Dot Hack. I may stream some Dot Hack at some point, but I mean, let's face it, none of y'all even know what this game is. Probably. I have no idea. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.